Find the linear approximation for the function f of x equals cosine of x at a equals pi over 2. The linear approximation makes use of the function cosine of x as well as its derivative f prime of x, which will be negative sine of x. The next thing to do is evaluate f at the a value, which is pi over 2, and that gives cosine of pi over 2, which is equal to 0, as well as f prime evaluated at the a value of pi over 2, which gives negative sine of pi over 2, and the sine of pi over 2 is a 1, giving a negative 1. The linear approximation formula, L of x, is f of a plus f prime of a times x minus a. For this problem, a is pi over 2, so this can be written as f of pi over 2 plus f prime of pi over 2 times x minus pi over 2. We have values for f of pi over 2 and f prime of pi over 2. They can be put into place. So the linearization or linear approximation will be f of pi over 2 is a 0, f prime of pi over 2 is a negative 1, times the x minus pi over 2. This can be simplified by distributing the negative 1 in through here and combining with the 0, but anything combined with 0 stays the same self. So this will just give us minus x plus pi over 2. And there's our linear approximation for that function. Since we have a negative with the x and the constant's a positive, it is possible to write this in reverse order and write the pi over 2 first, and then the negative x. It's customary to have the first term be a positive whenever possible. And another version for the linear approximation will be L of x is pi over 2 minus x.